What's up, everybody? Um, I've gotten a lot of questions on mindset, especially the last little bit, because I think a lot of people noticed kind of a bit of a shift in me over the past, you know, 4 or 5 months since my DVT and my pulmonary embolism. So I thought maybe I'd share a little story about mindset. Not that Not that I'm really an expert or anything like that. I'm just a 46-year-old guy who's lived through a lot of experiences, tried to do a lot of things, failed a lot. And I feel like there's been times when I've gotten it right, and there's times when I've gotten it massively wrong. So, from my point of reflection, maybe I can just share some things which may or may not be true. Uh, I'm sure that there's much more to learn, but here I go. So we'll go way back to when I was a teenager, probably, I don't know, 14, something like that. Um, I remember around that time, as a young teen, there's a lot of pressures to do a lot of things. You really don't know what you want to do with your life. You're pulled in many directions. The future's wide open, and it's a beautiful time of growth in the person's life. Everything you do can be a big step forward for you. And right around that time, I was pretty free as a kid. Like, I didn't have a lot of constraints with what I had to do with my time. I grew up on a big farm. There was not a lot of things that I had to do other than my chores, but other than that, I was basically left alone. Spent a lot of time with my friends, and I at that time, it was around that age when I started to just get involved with, things a lot of kids do. I think I started to get involved with drugs around that age, just a little bit. And my father uh, would talk to me, and he told me some things that I really thought a lot on and kind of held on to. Didn't get it right for a long time, but he talked about happiness. When you think about what you want to do with your life, like, what is it that you're after? A lot of people will say that they're looking for happiness, and I think that that's one of the things that drives people to make all sorts of decisions. They're just looking to become happy. They're looking to feel a certain way, and that can shape all your decisions. And my dad was aware that I was messing around with things like low level drugs, and I got introduced to alcohol around that age, um, and just generally kind of thrill seeking activities. And what he told me was that there's a big difference in the types of happiness that you can create. He said that there's a certain short-term happiness, a stolen happiness that can be relieved by things like drugs or um, you know short-term thrill-seeking activities, we'll call them. He said, but the real happiness, the real true feeling that you're after is through the completion of the goals that you set out for yourself. And that can be anything. I mean, Doesn't matter whether it's a short-term goal, a long-term goal, a lifetime goal. And, you know, when you're 14 years old, even that little bit of a tip can start to, you know, help you a little bit. And it did help me, but I mean, I was a completely reckless teenager, and, you know, maybe it helped me a bit, but went further, got to a place in the military. And military is a fascinating place, fascinating psychology that is kind of really, I don't know what the right word is, highly touted, or kind of, you know, the psychology that people admire in the military. People say it all the time, mission before self. It's really kind of a term that people talk about a lot. They say mission before self, and all the people who really embody this are typically very highly respected in that place of work. And I don't think it has anything to do with necessarily the military. I think that it probably is in all fields. Anybody who's extremely dedicated to the task and puts the task ahead of their own needs is extremely valuable, and it's just a great asset and admirable. So these things kind of line up a little bit. Now, I was raised completely atheist. So atheist, agnostic. We weren't religious in my house at all. We didn't go to church. We didn't say the Lord's Prayer. We did celebrate Christmas and Easter, and we did read from the Bible occasionally, but I was not raised to be religious. Now, in my time in the military, I did meet a lot of guys who were extremely religious, or had what I'll call just an extremely strong moral compass. So their decision making was always very streamlined and congruent, and, you know, they didn't have to think about a lot of their decisions because they already knew, and they were very pure with what they needed to do, with what they were supposed to do, and they had the belief behind them. Now, all these things kind of go together. And what the thing that kind of holds it all together is the mission. All of these thoughts are glued together by having a goal, a destination, something to accomplish, and believing in it fully, to an extent that's unshakable, unbreakable, to a point where you'll happily give your life for the cause, the mission, whatever it is you're trying to do. And the process of trying to complete this and working through, and the potential success, the potential growth, these dividends are true happiness. And the problem in life is when you either complete your mission and don't have a next one, or your mission becomes somewhat tarnished and shaken, and you have to reevaluate. There's many things that make you lose your mission. Happens to everybody, especially if you're going to live a long time on this planet. You might find your mission changes in your life. And I think that it's at these points in your life when the risk for danger becomes higher. Like, I think that people are always drawn to happiness. And like I said, the ultimate happiness is in the completion of your mission. But if that is not there, you will seek it through other means. And most people, many people's happiness, depending on what kind of a person you are, can become self-destructive. Whether you have alcoholic tendencies, drug using, socially, risk taking, you name it. There's far worse. And when you go down these paths, your life can become very far from a state of true happiness or champion mindset. So when I just got a call there. When I started to put all this together was after I released from the military. And I'll say that I did lose my mission for periods of time in my life. The mission of it can be very confusing, being a soldier, where you're willing to go all the way. It can be very difficult to have that purity and that conviction for the full 20 years that you're serving, or 30 or 35 or whatever guys do. It can be difficult, and if you don't hold on to that with 100% focus when required, it will become problematic. So, and people will, at that point, start to get themselves into trouble. I knew that I had to find a way to make my mind stronger. So I tried to distill all these thoughts into a very condensed kind of mission statement. And I knew it had to be something that I could believe in 100%. And it was very simple, and I use this term a lot. I just say big future. It's very simple. And big future, a lot of it has to do with big future for me. But I also realize that we are not individuals on this planet. We're all connected. So yes, I have a strong sense of ego, and there's a lot of things that I do for myself. But when I talk about big future, it certainly extends to much more than just myself. So now, when I make my decisions, I try to think big future. And are my decisions in line with making the future bigger, better for myself, my family, my country, my community? And it's a very simple thing, but I think it has helped me a lot. So sometimes you have to really become aware that we are very mortal. We don't have a lot of time. And I think everybody kind of knows that, but it's such a fact. The time we have on this planet is so short, and the time that we have is not guaranteed. And the reality is that you can die right now, tomorrow, a week from now. Maybe you'll die when you're 70, 80, who knows, maybe 100. But either way, you're going to die. So when you really, really get that, it can help straighten you out. And I think that what helped me so much just these past 4 months in really purifying my big future thought code was my touch with DVT. Anyways, just my little reminder to you guys that life is a gift. Make your very best decisions. Empower yourself to complete your mission, what you're here to do. It's probably not become a professional arm wrestler and kick ass. Maybe it is. But whatever it is, I wish for you purity. I wish for you the strength and the belief of the righteousness of your mission on why you're here. Have a good day, everybody.